What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to TD PHINS TALK, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Make sure you punch that like button on your way in the building as usual. Let your friends and family members know about the channel. And once again, if you missed it yesterday, congratulations to our entire community. We just got over 35,000 subscribers to the channel. So salute to each and every one of you that support what we do over here at TD PHINS TALK on a regular basis. But the Miami Dolphins' next moves, we're going to talk about that, and we also have a special guest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited about it. I'm going to bring our special guest in right away. Y'all going to be shocked at this one, man. We're talking about Alabama quarterback, graduate from Alabama. I did it big with this one, y'all. He started for the Miami Dolphins for 6 years, and although his career with the Dolphins might be coming to an end, he is joining us today. Shout out to my man, the one, the only, Spencer Barton, ladies and gentlemen. Spencer, you thought you were Tua, man?
No, I'm not close to Tua. I know that. That's a far stretch, to say the least.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad to have you on, man. Last time you were on, everybody was raving about the information that you were providing, nothing but facts and great information and insight on the Dolphins. So I'm happy to have you back again, and thanks for taking some time out of your busy day to be with us, especially running the Dolphins Roundtable. For those who don't know, Spencer is the host of Dolphins Roundtable. Okay, if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go check it out. All right, here it is right here. Go subscribe right now. We want to show love and support. He is the main contributor over on Dolphins Roundtable. Very insightful, doing some big things, growing this platform because he has a passion for the Dolphins, and he's delivering very informative content. So I've been watching your stuff, man, and I can tell you definitely do your research, and that's what I appreciate above all with you, Spencer. So I got a lot of questions that I want to ask you. And before we get in, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, I think this combine really showed a lot because we're talking about free agency, right? Miami obviously lost a little bit of cap space with the salary cap being on the lower end of the spectrum, but ultimately this is a draft that is a heavy starter draft. So I think we're going to be able to find guys in day 3, you're looking in the 4th, 5th round that are ultimately going to be able to play and have a contribution for this Miami Dolphin team. So that's when we talk about bringing it down to the studs and really building it up a certain way. This is a draft that can do that. And then we look forward to 2027 with Jeremiah Smith and some other talented quarterbacks to where we can figure that process out. But ultimately, I'm super excited. Ready to talk about some combine, some prospects that we got going on. I got my top 5 fits for Miami from the combine. These are just guys that did stuff at the combine, and some other players to keep in the mix as well that didn't make my top 5.
Awesome, man. We got a member on this channel at Tree305 said Dolphins Roundtable, big fan. That's what's up, man. But y'all go over right now to Dolphins Roundtable. Make sure that you subscribe. I'm actually going to drop the link in the chat. Go subscribe to it and come right back, though, because we want y'all to catch this show live. The link has officially been dropped in the chat. So go over to Dolphins Roundtable, subscribe to the channel, and come right back over here to enjoy the show. So I got a lot of questions for you, Spencer. I know we're going to get into because you've been studying the combine very well, and you have some prospects for the Miami Dolphins that they need to really look at that you see are gems. Before we get into that, a few things. Liam Eichenberg is gone now. They moved on from him. Are you getting a sense that they're clearing house in Miami?
Yes, this is absolutely what John Eric Sullivan is trying to do. He is moving all the Chris Greer players out the building. 2 is probably going to be next on the list, but maybe Austin Jackson too. But when we look at this, Chris Greer we knew did not draft well. And even when he did draft well, like guys like Robert Hunt are sent out the door and go get big money and play elsewhere then and look great. So ultimately, when you're looking at this, John Eric Sullivan wants to bring his guys in, build his system from the ground up, and that's ultimately what he's doing. I think moving on from Eichenberg was the right decision. So we'll see how it plays out, but I think they're moving in the right direction.
Awesome. Another thing I wanted to ask you about with Austin Jackson, some people I'm hearing saying that they're trying to shake him down on a pay cut. or restructure or whatever it may be, but he's actually looking for an extension. No more guarantees on the contract. How do you see that playing out? Do you think the Dolphins are going to move on or figure something out with him?
Well, now this is where it gets a little tricky with Austin Jackson, right? We talk about a guy who has had trouble staying healthy. We took him in the first round in 2020. We could have used on a guy like Justin Jefferson, but instead we took him. So he's had issues staying healthy.
Jefferson was there.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson was available right there, and we took Austin Jackson. Don't ask me why. Just like we took Noah Igbenogany instead of Jonathan Taylor in the first round. So don't even get me started there. So there's a couple for that. But ultimately, I think when he's on the field, he hasn't been a great right tackle. That's why I see someone mention Maui Noah in the comments. I think he's a really great tackle for us. I think if we can get him at 11, that's a really good pick for him. And plug and play him right tackle. Get rid of Austin Jackson. Post June 1st designation, save $11 million against the cap, which would be huge for us. But if you do extend him, I think that'd be a mistake. I think it was a mistake extending him the first time. However, if we do extend him, it needs to be short-term, front-loaded, because we need to be able to, if his play starts to diminish dramatically, he's easier to cut compared to what we saw with Chris Greer and these other contracts where we're dealing with the issues now because they got long-term deals.
So you mentioned him potentially on a post June 1st, but you only get 2 of those, and a lot of people are speculating that's going to be Tua and Chubb. So do you think Austin Jackson would replace one of those? Like how are you computing this one?
Well, I think Bradley Chubb to me, I thought was just going to be a straight release, which, I mean, yeah, you don't get as much back from that. But if you're looking at Austin Jackson, he actually saves you more in terms of post June 1st than as a regular release. You're saving about, I think, $9 to $10 million, whereas Bradley Chubb's giving you, he's giving you more as a post June 1st, but he's also saving you double digits in terms of just a release, like $7 million just as a straight release, which is more than Austin Jackson. So when you're looking at a financial standpoint, that's why I put Jackson in the post June 1st, because ultimately it helps you in double digits compared to Bradley Chubb, who gives you more value as a straight release when you're looking at between him and Austin Jackson, just a straight release, more value for Chubb than Austin Jackson.
Interesting. I didn't even know that. Cool. So let's go ahead and get into. I definitely want to hear from the first player you got on your board that you noticed from the combine that you think the Dolphins definitely should take. Tell us about him and why.
Well, this is in no particular order. These are just 5 guys that I think we can get. Caleb Downs and Maui Noah didn't really work out at the combine, so I didn't put them in this list yet, but they will be on my board. Number 1 is Dalen Everett, the cornerback out of Georgia. I've been super high on him. He was very fluid in his workouts. He's super athletic. We saw him running explosive. He's very explosive. 37.5-inch vertical, a 10.4 broad jump, so that's pretty good numbers. And he ran a 4.38 40. And for being 6'1", that's really good numbers. And when you're looking at some guys that Miami has, he's about the mix of what our height is in terms of our cornerback room. And for a position of need, this is a guy that we can plug and play and be a starter right away, especially on this Dolphins team, because I think he can play the outside very well. We saw it at Georgia for multiple years, and now we're just going to be seeing it in the NFL.
And this is at 11?
No, this is not for 11 at all. This is probably day 2. About mid to late day 2 for Everett. Not first round. None of these guys that I have in here are going to be first round guys, except maybe one, but it'd be too high to take him at the number 11 position. So
okay,
these are
cool.
more guys in the back half.
Day 2 corner to look out for, ladies and gentlemen. Who's the next guy you got on there?
A guy most people probably won't be familiar with unless you watch the combine. Mason Rieger, linebacker edge out of Wisconsin. This guy showed up in the Shrine Bowl. I mean, you're talking about getting that backfield. He was constantly. We were trying to figure out who's that guy in the Wisconsin helmet. Who's always that player, right? And that was him. He was quick and explosive off the line. We saw that in the workouts. Relentless motors, constantly, always driving. He keeps just getting after players and getting after that quarterback. And that's what you want out of Miami, especially with releasing Bradley Chubb. Chop Robinson hasn't produced. You're trying to find edge guys, and this guy could be somebody that we could take late day 2. I don't think he's going to be as much day 2, but I think day 3 for sure is where his position is going to be. But ultimately, he is a guy I think we can take in day 3 and have a really solid gem out of him.
So day 3, what round are you saying here?
It really depends on where he was ranked before. From what I've seen, I could say round 5.
Okay.
Round 5, round 6, I think we can get him because he had a really good workout.
Which is still a positional need. So you and I know that John Eric Sullivan has nothing to do with this, but we drafted some guys on the edge in later rounds last year. What's his name again? I'm running a blank.
I know we drafted Zeke Biggers as a defensive tackle.
No, the edge, undersized Kamara.
Muhammad Kamara from Colorado State a couple years back.
Yeah, like, does he like take the next step knowing that we're thin in the room, or are they going to bypass that and really invest in that position with a guy like who you're mentioning?
Well, I like Kamara. I was super happy when we drafted him, and where we got him, I think, was a really good value. He just hasn't seen a lot of playing time. Now, that could have been because of who we've had on the roster ultimately. However, the question is injuries, right? And can he actually get there? I think he could take the next step. He just needs to start showing it more. But it really just depends, because I think I see him on the cap, something over the cap of being in the dead money right now. So I need to figure out what's going on with that, if he's actually still on the roster, what that looks like. But I think he could take the next step, but edge is a position of need. And if the more depth you have, the better. And I think getting a guy like Rieger in the third, like in a day 3 pick to go with who we have, can ultimately improve this room.
Got it. Who do we have number 3 on the docket?
A guy that I really like, Jacob Rodriguez, a linebacker out of Texas Tech. This was a guy that 40 time wise, I think it was actually ran faster than I expected him to run. He ran a 4.57, and some people talked about some subpar speed from Bleacher Report. I think he absolutely took that question mark off the board. He has really good instincts. He knows how to take away the football. He had a couple forced fumbles, couple interceptions at Texas Tech. Finished 5th in the Heisman voting. When you watch him play, this is the kind of guy you want in your locker room. Really good team first guy, leader, and he shows basically his talking on the field. And I think overall, from a resume standpoint, and you put his workout and his 40 together, I think ultimately you're seeing a really good football player.
What was the 40?
His 40 time was a 4.57.
Okay, at the linebacker, right? And
yes.
What round do you project?
This is a guy, maybe if we're looking, I know it definitely is going to be day 2. Potentially could sneak into the first round, in the late first round, because I think he had a really good workout. I think that ultimately boosted him up a little bit more. It just depends on how the linebackers start to go and all the skill position players.
I'm sorry, say that one more time. You said what round?
I'm looking in the day 2, round 2, round 3, but he could sneak into the back half of the first round, depending on the linebacker position, if they start coming off the board quickly, and how the skill position players if they start dropping.
So what's the 4th player you have?
4th player, D'Angelo Pons, cornerback out of Indiana. So far, some things I wrote down: athletic and explosive, 43.5-inch vertical. Didn't really do much more measurements. His on-the-field performance just complemented his on-the-field tape. And in being athletic as he is, he's able to play on the outside. So I think a lot of people were questioning, could he play on the outside? Some people may not know this. He actually went up against Jeremiah Smith in practice back at high school at Chaminade Madonna. So he played against some of the best, and he played on the outside at Indiana, at James Madison, and he held up on his own. Defensive MVP in the Rose Bowl and the Peach Bowl for good reason. And when you're looking, he's just very fluid in his movements. No wasted motion all the way through, and he has really good ball skills too. So I think ultimately he's a really good cornerback. You can plug and play him right immediately.
Nice. And what round?
Round for him, I think he's day 2 for sure.
Okay.
Day 2, I know for sure.
2nd or 3rd?
Yeah, 2nd or 3rd, just depends.
Okay. And the last prospect you have?
Zachariah Branch, wide receiver out of Georgia. I know wide receiver is not a big need. However, I think this could be a Tyreek Hill kind of replacement.
Why is it a big need?
Well, because you think we have Jalen Waddle, but we have other needs. Cornerback's very low on depth, and a lot of guys are free agents. The defensive line, linebackers, safety. Those are really, offensive line's the biggest need of them all. But at the same time, you also need to complement your football team in other places, especially with how we saw this year. But I think wide receivers lower in terms of need than some of the other ones, not as high of an importance. But Zachariah Branch, wide receiver out of Georgia, he is fast, 4.36 40. Great hands. We saw him do great in the gauntlet. That was a question mark of mine. He had some drops, so I was really questioning his hands, but he looked good. Athletic. We saw a lot of ball screens at Georgia, so I wasn't really like, could he catch the deep ball? That was another question mark. Went through his combine, did a great job. He is a deep ball threat. You put him one-on-one, he's going to absolutely do great, and especially when you're talking about him and Jalen Waddle. That's why I think Tyreek Hill, he could be the replacement for Hill. Him and Jalen Waddle together could be definitely a really good combo. And ultimately, when you watch his overall work, it's just nothing but speed, speed, speed.
How tall is he? Do you have the measurements?
I don't. Let me just take a look really quick. I want to see what he measured at the combine. But from what I'm seeing, they're measuring him at 5'9", 177 pounds.
Small.
He's small, but when you watch his tape, though, you get him in open space, and he is gone. He's gonna be very hard. He's very hard to catch.
Sullivan say he wants some big boys, man. No more small guys.
Well, that's fine. We could. I don't mind a big receiver. I'm just saying when you watch him, he's a really good receiver, in my opinion. I think he could. Yeah. He's ultimately, I think, a round 3 receiver for sure.
Third round?
Third round for sure.
Okay. So it's very interesting when we look at your list overall. We got 2 linebackers, 2 cornerbacks, and a wide receiver. And obviously we need linebackers, and one of them a flex edge, and the 2 corners as well. These are massive holes that we have right now. These would definitely put the team in a much better position. Obviously, if they hit on these, and having another wide receiver that's speedy and fast could go a long way, and then adding another receiver that's big and tall could really be impactful for whatever quarterback ends up lining up. So my question to you is, say they were to just get lucky somehow, because we have a lot of mid-round picks. This isn't out of the realm of reality. It's not like you got to pick one or whatever. There's a world we can get all these guys with the draft capital that we have. If the Dolphins, and this is hypothetical, and I want to get your take, if the Dolphins were to draft these 5 guys, right?
Yes.
Do they impact the win-loss total for the team going into next year?
I mean, that's a really difficult, because you don't know how this team's going to look. I think it ultimately comes down to free agency, right? What more decisions do we make between now and then the other draft picks we make? So ultimately, I think it's just a matter of overall looking at it. I think we have a tough schedule. Could they impact it a little bit? Yes. Could they not? Yes. But ultimately, I think when we look at this team, it's going to be a 2-year rebuild. But ultimately, these guys could make an impact right away. But it's really not just about affecting the win total. It's about seeing their on-field production. And if this defense gets better as a result of these draft picks, it's showing you something that we haven't done well that Green Bay has. And ultimately, I think these guys can make plays and really be a really solid defense in the next couple of years if we're able to develop these guys and just keep producing.
And you feel like all 5 of these guys could come into an organization and, well, let's just go off of our situation and start right away.
I mean, for sure, definitely 4 of the 5. Rieger, I'm not sure yet. He could be a rotational guy to start and then work his way in, but definitely somebody I think could make an impact. And I think all these guys, including my other players I didn't put in there, Bryce Betcher, Jennings Dunker, a guard from Iowa, and Dylan Thieneman, who's going to be, I believe, a first-round safety out of Oregon, all can come in and make an impact right away.
Okay.
Rieger might take a year, but he can be there.
Because a lot of people want to see some type of success this year, even if it's like 7 or 8 wins. To them, that's a success, with the line being at 4.5. So a lot of people want people to contribute right away. And I'm one of those individuals as well. I want them to nail this draft and show us that this is what we can expect moving forward. Now, the big topic from the combine, what did you think about the quarterbacks you saw?
Well, this isn't a great quarterback class. I think we've seen that, right? There were some quarterbacks to me that stood out. Diego Pavia, he had some really good throws. I think the number 2 quarterback off the board is going to be Cole Payton from North Dakota State. I think Cade Klubnik is a really good quarterback. He can make all of the throws. He's just got to get more consistent. Somebody I think we can get in day 3 and can be a potential quarterback for us in the future. Also, something I didn't see who didn't have a great workout, in my opinion, was Ty Simpson. That's
Why
something
do you think that?
some of when you watch his throws in that, they were really off. I mean, some of the other throws he was on point, but like when you got down to the red zone, that last couple drills for the receivers, throws were way off. Then they were underthrown, they were overthrown, just not very good down in the red zone. And ultimately, when you're looking at the workout overall, there were other quarterbacks that stood out. Luke Altmaier is another name to look out for Miami. I think he had a solid day as well. So there were other quarterbacks to me that stood out over some of the other ones, like a Ty Simpson. But
See, I felt like Todd Simpson had a strong combine, and here's why: because the things that they say he didn't do well, those are the things that he actually shined on. The deep ball, he was dropping those in the bucket on those in and out routes, outside the numbers, right before the receiver can go out of bounds. He was nailing those as well. I just felt like everything that they said, well, this, we got to see if he does this well. He did well. I know what you're saying about the red zone where you saw guys like going backwards like that for footballs that should be led outside and things of that nature. But I thought it was a strong showing. So you're not high on Ty Simpson at all.
No, I am not high on him. I actually think if I did a top 5 in quarterbacks, he may be my number 5 quarterback, if that, on my list. I think just other quarterbacks outshined him. And for what I've seen, I think there's other quarterbacks that are ultimately better in this class.
Well, have you heard Kurt Warner's most recent evaluation?
No, I have not yet.
Well, I'm high on Todd Simpson right now.
That I'm aware of.
And I'm not a person that actually agrees with Kurt Warner quite often because of his takes on Tua. But he sees the light too. He feels that Ty Simpson, based off of the film that he's watched, because he's done about 5 of the top prospects, he feels that Ty Simpson is going to be a first-round draft pick this year, and he's a first-round talent. Based off of all the intangibles. That's what I keep telling people, the intangibles. I'm just real high on him. I'm shocked that you're like, yeah, he's about the 5th best guy.
That's just in my opinion, right? Everyone's got their own opinion. Everyone ranks them differently. Could he be a first-round quarterback because some people go off that? Some get pushed up higher because they're a quarterback, so everyone's looking for the franchise guy. To me, this is a quarterback class similar to, I don't know if you remember, but the 2022 NFL draft when it was in Las Vegas. The Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder draft, right? Where we didn't see the first quarterback go until Pittsburgh took one, I believe, at 18 or 22, I think. Not exactly sure the number. But this year it's going to be like Mendoza at number 1, and then between him and the number 2 quarterback, it's a long way to go. So I think ultimately Simpson could end up in the first round because some people just push quarterbacks higher up their boards. But if they all stay put, they stick to their evaluations, we could see maybe 1, maybe 2 in the first round, and then maybe a little bit of a drop-off until late round 2, early round 3. It just really depends on how the board falls. But yeah, I'm not as high on Simpson as some people are.
It's going to be interesting how these quarterbacks fall, man. We shall see what team takes who. I just think it's going to be very interesting. I'm gauging it off of last year because a lot of people are saying these quarterbacks aren't high. They're not high. But last year, did anybody expect 6 quarterbacks to be drafted in the first round?
I think so.
I don't even want to say first round, in the top 15 picks.
Yeah, I think last year was a quarterback class that we saw that, right? It was a more of a good quarterback class. I think next year, same thing. So I think when you're looking at these quarterbacks, this is not a quarterback heavy draft. Next year is.
Oh, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't understand the hype about next year's quarterbacks based off of the play in college right now by those quarterbacks.
Well, Arch Manning did well middle to end of the year. Okay, no, when you're looking at what overall, and you're listening to these media experts, so-called, right? He's very athletic. He's very athletic. We saw that against Michigan. He made some good throws. Ultimately, he's got to improve. We know that. There's a quarterback that I think Miami can take in 2027. In my opinion, I think he's a really good quarterback, and that's Julian Sayin from Ohio State, and that's something I'm high on. I feel like if we could trade Jalen Waddle for a first-round pick next year, if we don't do as well as if we do as bad as I think we could potentially be, I think we could end up taking Jeremiah Smith and Julian Sayin and have a quarterback wide receiver duo. That'd be dominant, in my opinion. That's why I think it's so important this year to figure and work everything else out, improve the O-line, improve the defense, because then that way you are ready for when you get your franchise quarterback, because then you'll be in a position to win.
So where do you see the Dolphins drafting a quarterback this year?
To me, if I'm being truly honest, where I would like us to take one would be not until the 4th, 5th round. I don't want to take one super high. I think we can get good value in the 4th or 5th round, maybe even the 6th round. Because if you remember, Quinn Ewers, I know some people are higher on him, some are not. But when we look at him, this guy was taken in the 7th round by Miami, right? The year before, had he came out, he was talked about as potentially one of the top 4 quarterbacks in that year. He decided to go back. He dealt with the injury that he sustained against Michigan, played it through, had a production drop. Obviously, the team didn't have as much talent, and he ultimately ends up dropping to us in the 7th round. That's crazy.
Quinn Ewers.
I know he had some good things that I saw. Ultimately, he drove the offense down the field, made some good throws. There were some questionable calls, but ultimately that's rookie stuff. So that's all I'm saying is I think we can get good value later day 3 and focus on the prime positions with 5 picks in the top 100 that you have to nail because it's so crucial this year. So I think if we're able to nail those draft picks, get good value with positions of need, then we can draft a quarterback later in the draft and ultimately consider it to be a really good draft.
So if they draft the quarterback at 11, what's your thoughts?
That's to me, I think that'd be a waste of a draft pick, if I'm being truly honest, because we have so many other positions of need, and it doesn't matter who you put back there if you cannot protect, right? We talk about, let's bring in Derek Carr, let's bring in Aaron Rodgers, let's do this, let's bring in Malik Willis. We don't protect them, it doesn't matter. They're going to get drilled all game long. So I think if we take it at 11, I think it could be a waste of draft pick. Now, it's not going to be the worst decision we could have made, but it's also not the best either. I think there's other positions of need that we can take. I think ultimately, if we get to number 11 and Maui Noah or Caleb Downs is right there, to me, they're the 2 blue chip prospects. Out of the 2, I think they're my only 2 blue chip prospects. If one of them drops number 11, we take them. I think if we get a right tackle, we solidify that spot right there. And ultimately, I think number 11, it could be a waste, but it wouldn't be the worst pick. I just wouldn't be super happy about taking a quarterback at number 11.
Yeah, I just want them to legitimately bring in competition for Ewers, because I actually believe in Ewers too. Because I understand, Ewers was dealing with an injury. The way he was throwing the ball late in the season wasn't great coming out of college, but he got a little bit of that zip back when last year in Miami. So I like his starting point, and I'm willing to build on that. But if you're serious about bringing competition to the position, that's why it's guys like Ty Simpson and stuff like that I'm intrigued by. Because Quinn Ewers was a top prospect until, the injury and things of that nature. And another thing, I know I'm probably going to die on this hill with this Ty Simpson stuff, but a lot of people also don't know he was battling injuries, and he also got diagnosed with gastritis.
I didn't know that. That's new.
Yeah, on the back, he lost like 30 plus pounds on the back end of the season. He had gastritis, and they just had a report recently that he just got back to his normal body weight. He lost like 30 pounds because of it. And the crazy thing is he must have had it severely, because I've had gastritis when I was in college, and it was crazy, but it must have lingered for him or whatever it may be. But yeah, he was dealing with some stuff, and Alabama wasn't a ideal Alabama program last year. Wide receiver, the top prospect wide receiver didn't show up as such. O-line was abysmal, no run game, causing him to get beat up almost after. And remember, he was the Heisman front runner in week 8. He was the Heisman front runner. And a lot of people keep bringing this point up, and I'm going to mention something Kurt Warner said too, but they keep bringing up the point that by week 8, you would have taken Ty Simpson over Mendoza any day of the week. But Mendoza had a strong back end of the season in those clutch moments in several games where he came in clutch. There were some bad games by Mendoza, but he had clutch moments at the end to win the games. And a lot of people discount those not so good games. And remember, well, you don't know this, but Kurt Warner said this too. He's questioning people. What elite traits are y'all talking about with Mendoza? And he's not saying he doesn't, but he's like, I'm just curious because a lot of people think that Mendoza's this and that. What elite traits are y'all talking about? Or are y'all just being fans of his performances in the playoffs and all of that and those comebacks? But from a trait standpoint.
Yeah, I think when you look at overall body of work, it was great. I think, I know you're mentioning the point about Simpson. I think I take Mendoza over Simpson anyway this entire year because I saw him play at California. And I don't know if you remember that Miami, Florida, California game when Miami came back and won. Mendoza played well, and I think he did better with less talent. So when he got to Indiana, they honed in on what he did well. Then he was able to develop a couple more things, especially the athleticism, right? He's sneaky athletic. We saw it in the national championship game. When he runs, he's going to run. So you think, oh, he's going to get you 5 yards. He's going to get you 7 and get down. Like, oh, you think he's going to get 12. So
I'm sorry, let me be clear. I think I misrepresented that. Not that Ty is a better player than Mendoza overall. What I was saying is in the first 8 games of the season, he was playing better football.
Yes,
not going back to the year before. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that. And that's obviously because Alabama played a lot of tougher competition earlier than Indiana did. Indiana didn't play as many top talented games until late in the year. So that's why we didn't see as much where they were just blowing people out early. So then when they came back against Michigan State, no one was surprised. Whereas Alabama then beats Georgia, right? So you're looking at the games that Alabama played in. They lost to Florida State early. They had some bigger games later throughout the entire year. So they were in the spotlight more than Indiana was until late in the year. So, but when you look at Mendoza, he's very accurate with the football. He's very sneaky athletic. He's very tough. He's probably one of the more tougher quarterbacks in this draft class, if not the toughest. So when you look at the overall, and I think the traits, I think Mendoza could get even better than what he is now. And I think with the mentorship of Tom Brady, if he does get taken at number 1, which most likely he will, he's going to turn into a really, really good quarterback at the next level.
I think Ty Simpson's going to be the next Peyton Manning, man.
I don't know about that. I mean, no way.
Somebody in the chat said that they watched Ty Simpson play this year and wasn't impressed. Couldn't utilize Ryan Williams. Well, I'll say this: it's not true at all.
They didn't use Ryan. They did not target Ryan Williams enough.
Yes, they did. Ryan Williams was just a bum. Guess who led FBS in drops?
Probably Ryan Williams.
All college football. Guess who led in drops?
Probably Ryan Williams.
That's all you need to know. The man had 13 drops. He said they couldn't utilize him.
No, the reason why I say that is because the couple games that I did watch down the stretch, you're getting into the third quarter, and he doesn't have any targets at all. 0.
They stopped trusting him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And to me, that's a bad idea. I think, yes, I understand you don't want to trust him, but why not give him one like a screen pass to get him comfortable, get him going? Because sometimes all it takes is one. You all talk about screen games and, Tua needs to get into a rhythm with getting a couple throws, and then he's good, right? So we mentioned that, but we're not talking about the same with a wide receiver. Why not get 1 or 2 catches and maybe gets his confidence back? But one thing I will say about Ryan Williams is he's not a natural hands catcher. He catches with his body, and I think that's what ultimately is the mistake. So when people are defending him tightly and putting contact, he's dropping more of them, or because he's not confident, because he's not doing enough, he's doing a lot of things wrong, and ultimately that's leading to drops. Turning his head up the field too quickly. That unlike guys like Elijah Surratt this year that are very good at making contested catches, a Jeremiah Smith that can make contested 50-50 catches with his hands. Ryan Williams is more of a body catcher, and that ultimately can lead to a lot of drops as well.
Yeah, I read a report from the where the coach was kind of basically not going away from him, but designing more for other players because he was losing his opportunities. He started like in reliable moments, he would have those blunders and hey man, we got to look at somebody else because we got to target other people more because we can't just keep on targeting the guy and he's doing this. I mean, and think about that. They reduced the targets and he still led the league in drops, man. And that's the only receiver you pretty much got like at the top of the top. It was supposed to be paired with another, but I'm just saying, I don't think these are excuses that some people make it out to be. I think these are reasons. But I do think that the kid is special. But we're gonna see, Spencer, and I'm gonna actually have you on in the near future. Hopefully, if you had a time, I want to see a big board, man. I want to see top 5 at every position. You been working on that?
Yeah, I actually have been. I probably will be able to get that here in the next couple of weeks. I know there's some pro days I got to take a look at. I don't know if I'll have as much access to it as maybe you will, but ultimately, I think probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I should have top 5 by position. Obviously, it'll change a little bit as pro days go by, but most likely it'll stay the same. But my top 5 will be coming out here very shortly.
At every position?
At all the positions. You're talking guard, you're talking tackle, you're talking center, quarterback. I mean, one guy I know people put in the comments is Taylor Green, not a quarterback. He's an athlete. We watched the combine. Everyone can see that with his throws. He's very athletic. That's why he ran so fast. But when we're looking at quarterbacks, you're looking at running backs, receivers. These are a lot of deeper positions. And I think for Miami, this is a deep draft for the positions of need, right? We talk about cornerback. We talk about some linebackers. We talk about some edge guys, all deep positions.
Yeah, so I think Miami we got a lot of good quality up to the 5th round.
Exactly, for starters. And that's why I think this is a good draft for Miami to have John Eric Sullivan, to have Hafley, bring in a new scheme, because then this is the time to start doing it now. This is the time to build a win. Because before we were just kidding ourselves. Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're not being Dallas Cowboy fans. We're not doing this. No. We need to draft well, develop, and then we can start building our way up.
Are you telling me the Dolphins can go to the Super Bowl this year?
No, I'm not. No, we're not doing that. Nope, no. Now, and especially I would say before when we made the playoffs those 2 years, we played really easy opponents, so we looked really good, and we played good teams. We didn't look great, and that's why we lost. So ultimately, I think now, if you see improvement, you see really good drafts the next 2 to 3 years, and we bring in free agents for low amount that fit our system, that we don't overpay for, I think ultimately in the next 3 to 5 years, you can see a really good football team.
Nice. 3 to 5. I need 2, man. Hey, I need it quicker.
Let's be patient here. We all want this to be fast, right? Let's be patient. Trust the process a little bit, because we've seen what John Eric Sullivan did in Green Bay. He was with the Packers since Aaron Rodgers got drafted. Like, let's be clear. Like, the Packers know what they're doing. So now we just got to believe that they can do the exact same here in Miami. The Green Bay Packers weren't Green Bay Packers overnight. It took them a while. Like, New England had a turnaround, but they had different circumstances. Look at Denver, right? Denver had a head coach, Sean Payton, when they got rid of Russell Wilson. So let's give it a couple years, see what we got, and then start competing, because that's what it's going to take at this point. Because do you want to beat Buffalo? Do you want to contend? Or do you just want to be going to the playoffs and be happy with going to the playoffs and getting all excited and losing in the first round every year?
Yeah, that got to change, man.
That's what I'm saying. So ultimately, we got to be patient and just be happy with what we see on the field. Because if we see these guys that we draft turn into really good football players, then it's something to be excited about.
Man, oh man, ladies and gentlemen, this is Spencer Barton with Roundtable Sports, Miami Dolphins contributor. Listen, y'all, make sure you go over to Miami Dolphins Roundtable right now. Show your love and support. The link is in the chat. You can go over there right now and subscribe to the channel. I think about 8 people have already subscribed since this show started. So that's what's up, man. But there you have it right there on the screen. And I just dropped the link in the chat. Go over to Dolphins Roundtable. Consistent content covering the Miami Dolphins, breaking news, everything going on this channel. So y'all show your love and support. And hopefully, if he has time, he's going to be a guest over here on TD Phins Talk as often as I can have him. He's pretty busy pumping out content on this platform. So it's another opportunity for y'all to enjoy his takes. And let him know in the comment section, what do you think about his opinions on all of these, even though he's a Ty Simpson hater. That's what
I'm
we
not
just
a hater. Come on, TD. And I'm just going to say this, and I see people are talking about Taylor Green really quick. I just want to make this thing. The reason why I say he's an athlete, and I see somebody said Lamar's an athlete, he is a better passer than Taylor Green. So ultimately, when we talk about the Lamar Jackson coming out of college to Taylor Green is not a great passer. Lamar is much better passer and ultimately developed that trait in the NFL. Just want to put that out there. So
yeah, that's how I feel
appreciate
too.
everyone for subscribing, though. Appreciate everyone for subscribing to the channel.
Yeah, that's how I feel too, man. The whole Green comparison and stuff. He's not where Lamar is from a passing standpoint. Now, Lamar wasn't a great passer at first, but Lamar was still already better than Taylor is right now throwing the football, in my opinion.
It's an Anthony Richardson kind of looking thing. Richardson had the physical traits. He looked the part, but his arm is not as great. So I think ultimately, when we've seen it this year, the injuries, he just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, well, you never know what a guy can be in this league, so I'm not going to rule anybody out. You know, Taylor Green could be the next Lamar. I don't know, man.
Maybe, but you got to develop a guy. But in the NFL, they don't develop guys like they do in college. So I think that's what could hurt him more than anything. But I appreciate everyone for subscribing to the Dolphins Roundtable channel. Fins up, no matter what. Let's go.
Thank y'all. We'll see y'all next time right here on TD Fins Talk or Dolphins Roundtable. We love y'all. See you soon. Peace. We are out. Thanks, Vince.
Yep.